Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Gauradhavan Lal, and with me is Saira Mujtaba with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says developed countries need to fulfill their commitments on finance and technology transfer for successful climate actions. Campaigning for assembly elections gains momentum in Uttar Pradesh, Punjab and Manipur. Government asks all states and union territories to review and amend additional COVID-19 restrictions after considering the trend of new cases. COVID-19 vaccination coverage crosses 174 crore in the country so far. Recovery rate improves to 97.94%. Government approves new India literacy program for financial years 2022 to 2027. Embassy of India in Ukraine sets up 24-hour helpline for Indian nationals. Sports Authority of India extends offer of employment to 398 coaches at various levels in 21 disciplines. Legendary Bollywood music composer and singer Bappi Lahiri passes away in Mumbai. Funeral to be held tomorrow. And in cricket, first T20 international of three-match series, the West Indies were 97 for 5 in 15.1 overs against India at Eden Gardens in Kolkata when reports last came in. With the new Omicron variant of coronavirus causing concern, we appeal to our listeners to be vigilant and to get fully vaccinated and help others, including children between 15 and 18 years, to also get vaccinated. Please continue to follow these 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact the national helpline numbers 011 239 78046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that environmental sustainability can only be achieved through climate justice. Delivering the inaugural address at the Energy and Resources Institute's TERI World Sustainable Development Summit this evening through a video message, Mr. Modi said that successful climate actions also need adequate financing, and for this, developed countries need to fulfill their commitments on finance and technology transfer. He said sustainability requires coordinated action for the global commons. He said the energy requirements of the people of India are expected to nearly double in the next 20 years, and denying this energy would be denying life itself to millions. The Prime Minister said,
"Equitable energy access to the poor has been a cornerstone of our environmental policy. Through Ujjwala Yojana, more than 90 million households have been provided access to clean cooking fuel. Under the PM Kusum scheme, we have taken renewable energy to the farmers."
The Prime Minister said environment and sustainable development have been key focus areas for him all through his 20 years in office, first in Gujarat and now at the national level. Mr. Modi said Indians have always lived in harmony with nature, and the culture, rituals, daily practices and numerous harvest festivals demonstrate strong bonds with nature. He said reduce, reuse, recycle, recover, redesign and remanufacture have been a part of India's cultural ethos. Mr. Modi expressed happiness that 2 more wetlands from India have got recognition as Ramsar sites recently. He said India now has 49 Ramsar sites spread over more than 1 million hectares. The Prime Minister said through the International Solar Alliance, India's aim is one sun, one world, one grid. He said,
"We are encouraging farmers to set up solar panels, use it and sell surplus power to the grid. Standalone solar pumps as well as efforts for solarizing existing pumps are being scaled up. Our focus on chemical-free natural farming will also help promote sustainability and equity."
Mr. Modi said, "We have heard people call our planet fragile, but it is not the planet that is fragile." He said, "It is us. We are fragile, and our commitments to the planet, to nature, have also been fragile." The Prime Minister said a lot has been said over the last 50 years since the 1972 Stockholm Conference, and very little has been done. He said, but in India, we have walked the talk. Mr. Modi said the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, CDRI, aims to build strong infrastructure in areas prone to frequent natural disasters. He said at the sidelines of COP26, we also launched an initiative called Infrastructure for Resilient Island States. He added that the island developing states are the most vulnerable and hence need urgent protection. The Prime Minister encouraged academic and research institutes like TERI to come up with scalable solutions to realize the potential of green hydrogen.
We have announced the setting of the National Hydrogen Mission. It aims to tap into green hydrogen and exciting technology to power our future. I encourage academic and research institutes like TERI to come up with sustainable solutions to realize the potential of green hydrogen.
The Prime Minister said, to these two initiatives, we now add LIFE, which stands for Lifestyle for Environment. LIFE is about making lifestyle choices to improve our planet, and it will be a coalition of like-minded people across the world who will promote sustainable lifestyles. Mr. Modi mentioned 3 Ps, pro-planet people. He said, this global movement of pro-planet people, 3 Ps, is the Coalition for Life. The Prime Minister added that these 3 global coalitions will form the trinity of the environment efforts for improving the global commons. The summit is TERI's annual flagship event, and the theme for this year is Towards a Resilient Planet, Ensuring a Sustainable and Equitable Future. It is discussing a wide range of issues including climate change, sustainable production, energy transitions, global commons and resource security. The 3-day summit, starting today, is being attended by the President of the Dominican Republic, Luis Abinader, President of Guyana, Dr. Irfan Ali, Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Amina J. Mohammed, heads of various intergovernmental organizations, and ministers and envoys from more than a dozen countries and delegates from over 120 countries.
In Uttar Pradesh, political parties have intensified their poll campaign to garner support of the public. Many leaders campaigned in Uttar Pradesh today. Our Lucknow correspondent reports that senior BJP leader and Prime Minister Narendra Modi today addressed a political rally in Sitapur district of Uttar Pradesh. Addressing the voters and party workers, the Prime Minister said, BJP in UP means control over mafia elements, security to women and freedom to celebrate all festivals. He said, the BJP in UP means centre schemes being implemented at double the speed. Attacking the opposition, the Prime Minister said, Samajwadi Party and BSP governments did not give more than 2 lakh jobs, while the Yogi government gave 4.5 lakh jobs in the last 5 years. Other party leaders like Uma Bharti, Rajnath Singh, Piyush Goyal, Yogi Adityanath also campaigned in different parts of the state. Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vadra held door-to-door campaign in Kanpur and Unnao districts. Samajwadi Party Chief Akhilesh Yadav campaigned in Farrukhabad district today. BJP leader and Union Minister Anurag Singh Thakur today lodged a complaint with the Election Commission about the attack on BJP candidates by Samajwadi Party or SP workers in the state. He said attack on BJP MP and UP Mahila Morcha Chief Geeta Shakya on the 14th of February shows that Samajwadi Party does violence against women. SP goons attacked BJP candidate from Karhal and Union Minister SP Singh Baghel in Mainpuri on the 15th of February. Anurag Singh Thakur said the party has demanded strict action, CCTVs on every polling booth and flag marches a day before polling with paramilitary force deployment.
The Punjab Chief Electoral Officer CEO Dr. S. Karuna Raju today issued standard operating procedures SOPs for the last 72 hours before polling day in the state. Divulging details, Dr. Raju said that instructions have been issued to all the district election officers cum deputy commissioners that they should make necessary arrangements for third randomization of polling personnel, certificate of formation of polling party, accommodation and food for polling parties, and deployment of micro-observers, video cameras, still cameras, and webcasting at polling stations. The owner of the Sangai Express daily newspaper, Sapam Nishikanta, became the richest candidate in the upcoming 12th general election to the Manipur Legislative Assembly. His assets surpassed the assets of the present Chief Minister of Manipur, N. Biren Singh, and former Chief Minister Okram Ibobi Singh.
Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad K. Sangma today held a meeting with the Home Secretary of the Ministry of Home Affairs and other officials in New Delhi to discuss the proposed peace talks with the banned militant outfit in Niltrep National Liberation Council HNLC. In a press statement following the meeting, the Chief Minister said the communication letter from the outfit to have unconditional talks with both the centre and the government of Meghalaya within the parameter of the Indian Constitution is a welcome step. All necessary developments have been updated, stated the Chief Minister, and added that a detailed discussion was held on how to take with the peace talk forward. Terming the meeting with officials of the MHA as a positive step, he added that the government of Meghalaya is committed to bringing peace in the state. The Union Health Ministry has asked all states and union territories to review and amend additional COVID-19 restrictions after considering the trend of new cases. The Union Health Secretary, Rajesh Bhushan, has written a letter to Chief Secretary and Chief Administrators of all states and UTs in this regard. He said the COVID-19 pandemic in the country is showing a sustained declining trend since the 21st of last month. The average daily cases during last week were 50,476 and in the last 24 hours, 27,409 new cases have been reported. Mr. Bhushan said, in earlier months, in view of the high COVID case trajectory, certain states had imposed additional restrictions at the borders and at the airports. He said, while effectively managing the public health challenge of COVID-19, it is equally important that movement of people and economic activities should not be hampered by additional restrictions. Mr. Bhushan has asked states and UTs to continue monitoring the trajectory of cases and spread of infection on a daily basis. He said they may also follow the five-fold strategy of test, track, treat, vaccination and adherence to COVID-appropriate behavior.
India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has crossed 174 crores today. The Union Health Ministry said that more than 31 lakh vaccine doses have been administered till 7 p.m. today. More than 1 crore 82 lakh precaution doses for the identified categories of beneficiaries for COVID vaccination have been administered so far. In the age group of 5 to 18 years, more than 5 crore 29 lakh vaccine doses have been administered as first dose and 1 crore 84 lakh as a second dose so far. India's recovery rate stands at 97.94%. In our bilingual live phone-in program, Corona Jagrukta series, Dr. A.K. Vaishnavi of Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia Hospital, New Delhi, will be with us today to answer queries related to coronavirus. Listeners can ask our experts questions from 9:30 p.m. on telephone number 011 234 21230 and 011 234 21764. You can also post your queries on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR. This live program can be heard on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. This program will also be available on our website newsonair.nic.in and on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official.
The government approved a new scheme, New India Literacy Program for the period financial years 2022 to 2027 to cover all the aspects of adult education to align with the National Education Policy 2020 and Budget Announcements 2021-22. The National Education Policy 2020 has recommendations for adult education and lifelong learning. The Union Budget 2021-22 announcement had been made to enable increased access of resources. Online modules covering the entire gamut of adult education will be introduced. The objectives of the scheme is to impart not only foundational literacy and numeracy, but also to cover other components which are necessary for a citizen of 21st century.
The Russian Defense Ministry has announced the end of Crimea military drills. The ministry shared a video of Russian military equipment and forces leaving Crimea. An agency report said today that the move comes after Moscow said that some of its troops are returning to home bases, indicating a cooling of tensions regarding the Ukraine issue. Meanwhile, a series of cyber attacks knocked the websites of the Ukrainian army, the defense ministry and major banks offline. The Embassy of India in Kiev issued an advisory yesterday for Indian nationals in Ukraine. The embassy continues to monitor developments. Official sources said they are aware that many Indian students are presently in Ukraine and their families are anxious about their wards. particularly about getting flights to India. The sources said discussions are underway with civil aviation authorities and various airlines on how to increase the number of flights between India and Ukraine. Control rooms in the embassy as well as in the Ministry of External Affairs have been set up to respond to queries of Indian nationals in Ukraine and their families in India. The Embassy of India in Ukraine has set up a 24-hour helpline which can be accessed at +380 99 73 00 428 and +380 99 73 00 483. The email ID is cons1.kiv@mea.gov.in and the website is www.oiukraine.gov.in.
You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says developed countries need to fulfill their commitments on finance and technology transfer for successful climate actions. Campaigning for assembly elections gains momentum in Uttar Pradesh, Punjab and Manipur. Government asks all states and union territories to review and amend additional COVID-19 restrictions after considering the trend of new cases. COVID-19 vaccination coverage crosses 174 crore in the country so far. Recovery rate improves to 97.94%. Government approves New India Literacy Program for financial years 2022 to 2027. Embassy of India in Ukraine sets up 24-hour helpline for Indian nationals. Sports Authority of India extends offer of employment to 398 coaches at various levels in 21 disciplines. Legendary Bollywood music composer and singer Bhappi Lahiri passes away in Mumbai, funeral to be held tomorrow. And in cricket, first T20 international of 3-match series, West Indies were 133 for 5 in 17.2 overs against India at Eden Gardens in Kolkata when reports last came in. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर
8700014242।
Welcome back to the evening news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi and Deputy Supreme Commander of the UAE Armed Forces, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, will hold a virtual summit on Friday. Both leaders are expected to lay out their vision of the historic and friendly relations between the two countries at a time when India is celebrating 75 years of its independence as Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav and the UAE is celebrating the 50th anniversary of its foundation. The Sports Authority of India, under the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, has extended offers of employment to 398 coaches at various levels in 21 disciplines. Many among them are former international athletes and Arjuna awardees who have competed or won medals in elite competitions such as the World Championships and the Olympics. The recruitment comes in the wake of the efforts of the Sports Ministry to provide 360-degree support to athletes as they prepare for important national and international competitions, including Olympic 2024 and 2028.
Niti Aayog, in association with PhonePe, will launch the Fintech Open Hackathon. The hackathon will provide an opportunity for innovators, digital creators and developers from all over India to think, ideate and code. It aims to showcase path-breaking solutions for the Fintech ecosystem. The last date to register for the event is the 23rd of February and the deadline to submit the final entries is 25th of February this year. The winners of the hackathon will be announced on the 28th of this month. The Ayush Ministry has said that Guruchi or Giloy is safe and does not produce any toxic effects. It says certain sections of the media have falsely linked Giloy to liver damage. The ministry said as per the available data, Giloy is safe and in Ayurveda it is said to be the best rejuvenating herb. However, the safety of a drug depends on how it is being used. Dosage is one of the important factors that determine the safety of a particular drug.
The BJP today alleged that the ABG Shipyard Bank fraud case took place during the UPA rule, and it is another feather in the saga of corruption in the previous Congress government. Briefing the media in New Delhi, party spokesperson Sudhanshu Trivedi said the loan of the company was declared an NPA in November 2013 and it was restructured during the last period of the UPA rule in March 2014. He said the owner of the company had close links with the former advisor of Congress President Sonia Gandhi.
And now let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of this struggle every day.
In today's episode, we remember one of the prominent activists of the Indian Renaissance, Rajendra Lal Mitra, who was born on the 16th of February 1822 in Calcutta. Rajendra Lal was famous as one of the most learned men of India of his time and knew Hindi, Sanskrit, Persian, Urdu, English, French, Greek and Latin.
Rajendra Lal laid the foundation of the tradition of the study of Indian antiquities by Indians themselves. He worked throughout his life in the Asiatic Society and rose from the rank of librarian to the Society's first Indian president in 1885. Some of his pioneering works include the Sanskrit Buddhist literature of Nepal, the antiquities of Odisha, and Buddha Gaya, the hermitage of Shakyamuni.
Rajendra Lal was the chairman of the reception committee during the second session of the Congress that was held in Calcutta in 1886. He was one of the first Indians to be honoured by scholarly and learned bodies in Europe in the 19th century. He was admitted as an honorary member of the Royal Asiatic Society of Great Britain and Ireland. He was also honoured in Vienna and Italy. We salute the great Indian.
We also remember the eminent scientist Meghnad Saha, who died on the 16th of February 1956. Saha was forced to leave his school for his participation in the Swadeshi movement.
While Meghnad was in school, the governor of Bengal came to inspect his school. Many students, including Meghnad, opposed the imperialist British governor. As a punishment, the school administration stopped Meghnad's scholarship and threw him out of the school. Later, he took admission in a private school. During higher studies at Presidency College, Saha was fortunate to have teachers like Jagdish Chandra Bose, Sharada Prasanna Das, and Prafulla Chandra Ray. His class fellows included Satyendranath Bose and Bagha Jatin.
Saha's best-known work concerns the thermal ionization of elements, and it led him to formulate what is known as the Saha equation. He also invented an instrument to measure the weight and pressure of solar rays and helped to build several scientific institutions such as the Physics Department in Allahabad University and the Institute of Nuclear Physics in Calcutta.
As the chairperson of the Calendar Reforms Committee set up in 1952, Saha helped assimilate 30 kinds of Indian calendar systems into one national calendar. Saha was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Physics multiple times and was also elected to the first Lok Sabha in 1952 as an independent candidate. He worked as a professor of Allahabad University and thereafter as professor and dean at the University of Calcutta until his death in 1956. AIR salutes the great patriot scientist.
We also remember freedom fighter Balcha, who took part in the Bhumkal revolt in 1910 in the Jagdalpur area of Bastar against feudal and colonial exploitation. In the intense battle known as the Indravati Fort Battle that took place on the 16th of February 1910, Balcha and his associates fought against the British. When the defeat was imminent, Balcha managed to escape along with his associates and rallied around the neighbouring villages. However, they were surrounded on the night of 25th of February by the British forces and captured.
The freedom fighters were charged with waging war against the British Crown and tried in the famous Jagdalpur trial. 78 of the freedom fighters, including Balcha, were imprisoned in Bastar jail, but later, in June 1910, shifted to the Raipur Central Jail, where he died suffering ill treatment and tortures by the jail authorities. We salute the great martyr.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
Best wishes to all consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase Hallmark gold jewellery. For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline's toll-free number 14404. Issued in public interest by Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India. Jago Grahak Jago.
President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi greeted people on the occasion of the birth anniversary of Guru Ravidas. Ravidas Jayanti, the birth anniversary of Sant Ravidas, is being celebrated across the country today. Sant Ravidas was a 14th century saint and founder of the Bhakti movement in North India. Lakhs of people converge at Sri Guru Ravidas Janam Sthan Mandir, near Govardhanpur in Varanasi, to celebrate his anniversary.
Popularly known as Samanvay Kavi, or the poet of reconciliation, Naduja Channavira Kanavi breathed his last in Dharwar in North Karnataka this morning at 9 a.m. He was 93. Sahitya Akademi has honoured him with the Akademi Award for his collection of poems Jeeva Dhwani in 1982. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed grief on the demise of noted Kannada writer and poet Channavira Kanavi. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said, Channavira Kanavi's sublime poetry and writings have enriched Kannada literature for decades. He expressed condolences to his family and admirers.
Music composer and singer Bappi Lahiri passed away at a Mumbai hospital this morning. He was 69. President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur have paid condolences at the demise of Bappi Lahiri. The singer's family, in an official statement today, said Lahiri's funeral will be held tomorrow after the arrival of his son Bappa Lahiri from the US.
In cricket, first T20 International of three-match series, West Indies were 151 for 6 in 19.1 overs against India at Eden Gardens in Kolkata. The hosts won the toss and elected to field. After clean sweeping the visitors in the three-match ODI series, the men in blue are seeing the same in T20I series.
And now, before we close, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says developed countries need to fulfill their commitments on finance and technology transfer for successful climate actions. Campaigning for assembly elections gains momentum in Uttar Pradesh, Punjab and Manipur. Government asks all states and union territories to review and amend additional COVID-19 restrictions after considering the trend of new cases. COVID-19 vaccination coverage crosses 174 crore in the country so far. Recovery rate improves to 97.94%. Government approves new India literacy program for financial years 2022 to 2027. Embassy of India in Ukraine sets up 24-hour helpline for Indian nationals. Sports Authority of India extends offer of employment to 398 coaches at various levels in 21 disciplines. Legendary Bollywood music composer and singer Bappi Lahiri passes away in Mumbai. Funeral to be held tomorrow. And in cricket, first T20 International of three-match series, the West Indies sets a target of 157 runs for India. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.